They think for the next president, they think Platini, because Platini is already president of UEFA, has good opportunity. The people, they think in Platini. Maybe Platini will run for that. But I am out, no doubt.
Now, we've got less than 6 months until the Rugby World Cup comes to New Zealand, but questions, of course, now being raised over Christchurch's ability to host games after last week's devastating earthquake. Andrew Thomas finds out whether the city and its players are still prepared for that competition.
Training, but with a difference. For the Crusaders, New Zealand's most successful ever Super Rugby team, these are unusual times. This a borrowed pitch, 30 kilometres from their normal home. That is in Christchurch. The team was showering after training here as the ground shook. They scattered, rushing home to check on family and friends. A member of the team's board died when this office block collapsed. Players and coaches were unharmed, but not their facilities. Potentially unsafe, the Crusaders' home stadium. It has yet to be checked for structural damage. Out of respect, last Saturday's away game was abandoned, but this Friday's home fixture can't be missed. Their opponents, Australia's Waratahs, the team currently topping the league. That match will go ahead, but in Nelson, 400 kilometres from Christchurch. It'll be an emotionally charged night.
You know, emotion is both a good thing and bad thing. You know, we've got to be really clear that we firmly get our minds back on rugby and try to, you know, put that emotion to the side and really refocus on making sure that rugby is our priority.
Christchurch's earthquake has big implications too for this September's Rugby World Cup. Key matches for that are due to be played at the Crusaders Stadium too, which, even as we filmed it, was hit by another aftershock. The stadium is quite modern. Engineers expect to find it structurally sound. But there are wider questions. Can a city devastated by an earthquake possibly host a major sports event just 6 months later?
Well, I mean, we've been looking forward to it and we've been gearing up for it, and there's been a lot of investment in the stadium and in the city. We would still very much like to be a very big part of the Rugby World Cup.
But hotels have been destroyed, likewise restaurants and bars. The city centre will be off limits for months. There is, though, hope. Cruise liners, for example, could be brought into nearby Littleton Harbour to accommodate fans. Commercially and psychologically, being in a fit enough state to host the World Cup by September would be a huge boost for Christchurch. But for an event of that size, 6 months isn't long, and the clock's already ticking. Andrew Thomas, AlJazeera, Christchurch.
Canada 130 for 8 now in that chase. We'll bring you all the action from that game a little later on.
Thanks very much, Andy. Now, the last spacewalk has been made from the US Space Shuttle Discovery. NASA's oldest shuttle is on its 39th and final mission before being retired. Astronauts Alvin Drew and Stephen Bowen carried out a 6-hour spacewalk to prepare the International Space Station for life after the shuttle program ends. Do stay with us here on Al Jazeera. Adrian Finnegan is here in a couple of minutes. First, let's bring you a check on the world weather. Thanks for watching.
Hello, it's feeling a little on the fresh side across the Arabian Peninsula at the moment. Quite a keen northwesterly wind, the Old Shamal wind, that's coming back in. It's only 24 Celsius here in Doha. Similar values to come too for Abu Dhabi, but at least it will stay largely dry. A chance of 1 or 2 showers just around the southern end of the Red Sea. And this little discrete line of showers, maybe just pushing up into central parts of Saudi Arabia as we go through Saturday. Still at around 24 Celsius, just around the Gulf. At least, as I said, it is dry. Fine and sunny, dry too across Iran. We push away into Pakistan, again largely dry. Some very wintry weather still very much in place across northern parts of India through Afghanistan. New Delhi should be largely dry here, temperatures at around 23 Celsius. I think you may well see some grey skies though, so a little overcast if we should call it that. Plenty of cloud too, and some showers continuing into Sri Lanka, the far south of India. Temperatures in Colombo at around 34 Celsius. It's brightening up nicely for South Africa, but a few showers of possibility around the eastern and southern Cape. The wettest weather, the seasonal rains continuing through Madagascar, Mozambique, Zambia, right the way across into Angola. Heavy showers now edging their way a little further north. Heavy rain does continue to affect a good part of Brazil, with further flooding for southeastern parts.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download Al Jazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovis store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from Al Jazeera English. See the world in real time. Al Jazeera Mobile.
New air attacks on the Libyan town of Brega, but rebels say that they're pushing back Gaddafi's forces. Hello there, good to have you with us. I'm Adrian Finnegan. This is Al Jazeera, live from Doha, also on the programme.
If forces under their command and control commit crimes, they could be criminally responsible.
A warning to Gaddafi as the International Criminal Court announces an investigation into human rights abuses in Libya. Egypt gets another new prime minister as Mubarak's man resigns. And violence escalates in Côte d'Ivoire, where security forces have shot dead 6 female protesters. Pressure continues to mount on Libya's leader Muammar Gaddafi. The International Criminal Court says that he will be investigated for crimes against humanity, but Gaddafi has vowed to fight on. His forces launched fresh airstrikes on the strategic oil town of Brega in the east, which is held by Gaddafi's opponents. Some reports say that they may have been targeting the airport where anti-government protesters and pro-Gaddafi forces had been fighting for control. Other witnesses say the target was an airstrip belonging to a huge oil complex. It follows similar strikes on Wednesday when 2 warplanes dropped bombs on Brega's oil terminal. Tens of thousands of people continue to flee the violence. The UN says that Libya's border crossings have now reached crisis point. More than 50,000 Bangladeshis are still trapped. Their government says that it has no plans to evacuate them. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court says that he'll investigate Gaddafi and his supporters for human rights violations. Speaking at The Hague, Luis Moreno Ocampo said that no one had the right to massacre civilians. And it's emerged that forces loyal to Gaddafi captured 3 Dutch Marines in the coastal city of Sirte on Sunday.